Hello, my name's Tim Cranmore and I'm a recorder maker, and I'm jumping on the bandwagon of everyone else doing videos from their workshops, garages, backyards, bedrooms, bathrooms and wherever by coming on to talk about some of the recorders that I've made. Now, I make an enormous number of recorders. I think when I added it up, I don't like to think how many sizes it comes to. But just to get off to a good footing, I'm going to start with a type of recorder that I absolutely detest above all others, and those are small recorders. I hate small recorders. There you go. That's got that over and done with. This is the smallest fiddle flute I have ever made. It's a bird trainer's flageolet. It's got 2 holes on the back and 4 holes on the front, and the original is in a very nice museum in Basel, and apparently it's for bored aristocrats to teach their pet birds in cages how to sing little tunes that they would probably far rather be singing in the forest. My fingers are far too big to play it, and I can't really play it anyway, but I'm going to make a noise on it because everyone says, what does it sound like? Here we go. I'm not going to play a tune. I don't know any tunes on this one anyway. I dread to think what that's going to sound like through your sound system. I apologise to anyone whose cat has just left the room. Now, sopraninos, I hate sopranino recorders. I really hate them. I don't particularly want to play them. They're fine, and in the hands of people who can play them, they're great, but I can't. Now, this is the next size of recorder that I was asked to make. This is a G alto sopranino, and a lady from Amsterdam asked me to make one because she had an idea there's an obbligato instrumental part in the baroque cantata should be played on one of these. Unfortunately, I never heard the subsequent recording. I should ask her for one. I made 2. This was one. She has the other, and it's a baroque sopranino in G. And actually, it works. Now, I'm not going to try and get clever with these because as soon as I start playing, I start to make mistakes. So please excuse me. But this is how it sounds. That does not really have a top F, does it? And it's really, really painful. But you know, yeah, sort of works. I never made another one. I probably never will. Now, ironically, most surviving medieval recorders are a sort of sopranino size. So this is the very famous Tartu sopranino, which was famously found in a long drop latrine in Estonia, a city called Tartu. And the long drop latrine was outside the back of a house that sort of spanned the beginning of the 15th century, end of the 14th century, or maybe earlier than that. No one really knows. It was found at the bottom of the latrine, which is interesting, which means it had been there since the house was probably built. And why it was at the bottom of the latrine, no one really knows. Did the person who dropped it there not notice he dropped it there and then spent several weeks searching for his favourite recorder? Did he know that he dropped it there and chose not to go and collect it? Or did he not realise that his loving wife and family had actually dropped it down there in order to get rid of the damn thing? But it's interesting. It's got a semitone at the bottom, hence that small hole. I'm going to try and play it. And once again, excuse my playing, but this is what it sounds like. It hasn't got a beak. It's just got a wind way at the front. Excuse the wrong note at the end. It's interesting, isn't it, that semitone? Definitely gives it an atmosphere. It has an odd fingering, You'll see that all the finger holes are the same size. No one had standardized fingering in those days. This was really probably a folk instrument. It goes like this. Finger over the end. Semitone. So yeah, it works. It's loud, it's forceful. And I thought, well, surely people are going to be interested in a proper version of that. So I made this. Don't like this thing either. F Sopranino, F at the bottom, range of an octave and the fifth. I occasionally show my contempt for these things by playing a tune something like this, but it's a tune that I know. Or at least anyone within the UK will know. F Sopranino, medieval, wide bore. Don't think I've ever sold one. Another very famous medieval recorder was the Dordrecht soprano. And when I thought I was going to get a foothold in the world of people who have pointy tent suits of armour, swinging this, that and the other, and go around pretending to kill each other on fields just outside Tewkesbury, I made a Sopranino version of the Dordrecht descant. It's in the same key. Once again, it works. Don't know if I've ever sold one. It sits here, all sensible offers considered. But of course, when you think sopraninos, people think Handel and Vivaldi. Now, I cannot deny that there are sopranino parts written for Handel operas and Vivaldi sopranino concertos. They're there. They're great pieces of music. And they must have been played on a sopranino recorder, something like this, which is a sort of copy of the Denner sopranino, which everyone copies. Though you have to go quite a long way away from it because the original has single holes and I think is in one piece. Now, many years ago, I was fortunate enough, I went to Amsterdam and I met my friend Tim Cranmore. And he had just taken delivery of a very, very large and beautiful piece of Mammoth ivory. Now, he came out with a great story. He said that he and our friend Tony, they got in the Land Rover, they'd driven to Siberia, they'd found the tusks, they'd dug them out of the ground at night, they'd stolen a chunk of paint. This is true. This is what I was told. They'd painted it brown, put it in the back of the Land Rover. They got back, they'd been shot at, they'd been arrested, they'd been threatened, they'd had to bribe their way out of Russia and finally got back to Amsterdam with this enormous chunk of Mammoth ivory, which he was then about to cut up and make into baroque flutes in his brother's workshop in Amsterdam. When he hadn't got a lot of time left, because unfortunately he passed away a few years ago, he admitted that that was a complete lie. Reminds me of a certain television programme. And actually he bought this chunk of Mammoth ivory on the black market in Belgium and didn't like to admit to it. But he gave me enough to make a sopranino, and it was a beautiful sopranino. I sold it to a lady called Dorothee Oberlinger. She plays Vivaldi concertos on it. And occasionally I thought, that was a fantastic instrument. Surely I can do that again. So I'd pick up some bits of blackwood and I would try. And every one just doesn't work. I hate sopraninos. I mean, it's fine for Aces and Galatea. I don't know if you know that music. I'm going to make a right mess of it here. Lovely music. Goes obbligato soprano aria, hushy, pretty warbling choirs. And of course the very famous Vivaldi concertos, which I cannot play at all, go a bit like this. Fine, but it doesn't really work. And now it embarrasses me by working not too badly. I hate small recorders. I hate sopraninos. I find them enormously irritating. And I will probably never make another one as long as I live, if I'm lucky. So that's my introduction to small recorders. I'll do another video later on. I really quite enjoyed this. And eventually we get on to nice big recorders. So thank you for watching if you've persevered to the end. Goodbye.